Back to another Foyr Talks. We have with us today Blanche Garcia. Blanche was here yesterday and got a ton of buzz in the chat channels. Just to remind everybody, keep those questions flowing in. It makes it easier at the end for us to tee them up for our speakers. And we love to get to those because we know they're very, very important. So let's welcome back Blanche, everyone. She's the owner of B. Garcia Designs. And today is going to be giving us a talk around the right projects, the right clients in 2020. As we all know, not all clients are good fits. So without further ado, Blanche, welcome back, and can't wait to get your thoughts around this important topic.
Hi, everybody. So this is actually a topic that is dear to my heart because I feel like, you know, everybody has their superpowers. And I think that one of my unicorn superpowers, I'd like to call it, is managing clients and being able to spot which projects are the correct fit and which aren't. And a lot of times there's analytical stuff that goes into it, but a lot of it has to do with connection and how you feel and what your personal goals are within your business, right? And I'd like to say that a lot of it also has to do with, like, there's like red flags that they put up, you know? So sometimes you're going to experience those red flags like any relationship. And like any relationship, it's really important for you to pay attention really early on. Honestly, even as early on as the first phone call. So we're gonna talk about some things and some rights or wrongs, or things that I think are good or bad as far as accepting a project or not accepting a project. And if there is, hello everybody, I see your comments. And if there's anything that you guys wanna know or want me to stop at, just let me know. So I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. Okay. So here we go. The right projects, the right clients, 2020, right? 2020, the shit show. Okay, here we go. Okay, so one thing you have to remember, you are a powerhouse, a creative force, a beast in your fields, success, worthy, accomplished, intelligent, strong, brave, capable, enough. The reason why it is important to know that you are this magical unicorn and that you are this beast in your field is because if you do not own it, if you do not take ownership of it, then nobody else is going to believe you. So your energy enters a space or a phone call before you do. And a lot of times when connecting with people, it's really important that in this relationship as the designer, there is a leader, right? You are the leader. You will collaborate with your client on aspects, and the client will funnel information to you and let you know their wants and needs, but you are the one leading the relationship. Okay. And that's really important to just take ownership of, because really a lot of it is all about you. And I don't mean that from an ego standpoint, but I mean that if you think about every relationship you have, you get to decide how that relationship kind of works. Maybe not how other people respond to you, but you get to decide how you respond to them, right? And that puts you in the driver's seat of basically your own interrelations, your own life, your own business. So this is really important. And for me, there are times that I honestly wake up and I meditate daily, and I also, give myself mantras in the beginning of my day. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I feel like crap, or, it's easy to compare yourself to other people or other people in your field, but you really need to take ownership and just like say these things to yourself every morning. Like, I am a beast, The other day I was running and I just like stopped and started laughing because I had just finalized some details of a deal. And I literally was working on so many different aspects that it was like I was using all of my resources and skills. And I just had to stop for a second and pat myself on the back. And I was just like, you know what, bitch, you're a unicorn. You are a unicorn. So I want you all to know that you are unicorns. As crazy as that sounds. All right. Let's talk about emotional intelligence, because I think that this is basically the bedrock of any connection or relationship that you have, especially in business. And people don't always think that, but I use it all the time. So emotional intelligence, the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judicially and empathically. Okay, the 4 categories it covers are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. So I ask you here, what are your feelings and emotions, strengths and weaknesses, and do you understand what drives them? I want you to write that down for yourself, and I want you to think about the answers to that this weekend. Also, I want you to make a list and assess your value and goals and where you want to go in life. This is really important because those value and goals are going to let you know what type of projects and clients you want to work with. Because if you don't know where you want your business to head, then you cannot pick up and work with people and projects that are in alignment with that, because you have no freaking clue what you're doing. You're like, I'm just taking it all. I don't care. I just need to make money. I'm scared. It may not be here tomorrow. And that level of scarcity, that belief system, what will happen is that you will get clients and projects that are not good for you because you're taking them out of fear and you don't understand where you're going, where you want to go. So everything has to follow a plan, similar to when we design for people, right? We design with a plan. And so when we do that, it's really important to have one plan that whenever there's questions or people are freaking out, you bring them back to the plan. This is what's going to happen. So if you write down your values and your goals and where you want to go with your business, then the clients you choose, the projects you choose will always have to align with that whenever you're questioning, should I take this? And so what does it mean to be emotionally intelligent? Emotional intelligence, otherwise known as emotional quotient or EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. And I put here, remember that every relationship is about you and how you handle them. So this is not about, there's a difference between when you see a project, when you meet a client and you're using your logic, right? There's the logic end of things. And the logic end of things says, will this make me money? Who is this client going to be a great client to photograph? Are they going to have friends that are like, going to talk about me and say really nice things? Is this going to look good in my portfolio? These are the questions that are very much rooted in your analytical side, right? The emotional intelligence end of you, though, is when you meet a client or you step upon a project, you know within seconds if something feels right. And how you communicate with them and how you verbally interact with them, you're using emotional intelligence. You're picking up on cues, especially as designers. We are picking up on information that is not just verbal. Sometimes the client is telling you something and everything about them is screaming something else. You could be talking to somebody and, okay, let me explain this. Do you ever have a client that goes, I'm so easy to work with. I am like so easy to work with. I mean, everybody tells me I'm just really laid back. Meanwhile, you see like 3 cell phones, you have calendars. She's like, you just heard her on a call, like losing her mind on the laundromat because there's like a stain that's the size of like not even a dust. She just like, you could tell her kitchen is organized to the T. Like everything about this woman screams, I need perfection and I need it now. But yet she's telling you how laid back and how chill she is. So your emotional intelligence are picking up on all these different cues and also the energy that she's telling you and even the energy in which she's talking. That is a portion of emotional intelligence. The other portion is how you communicate and how you effectively connect to the client. So let's go to the next slide. What makes a great project? Okay, this for me, these are some tick marks. It feels right. It sparks your passion. You can visualize yourself working on the project. It's in line with your brand. It will only benefit your portfolio. You like the client. There's room to grow into other projects. It fits within your project schedules. The money is there. You feel confident in your abilities to handle the tasks. The project allows you to express your creativity. Okay, my number one out of all of this is you like the client, because you are going to be in bed with the client for a very long time. And you need to not cringe every time they text you or call you. And this is really important. And so when I see a project and I walk away and I start visualizing myself working on the project, I know that it has sparked my passions. I recently went to go see a project, and while I was there, I connected immediately with the client. That was like tick 1, like, great, we're doing good so far. The project looked like it would fit within my portfolio. Awesome. It was on brand. If I got the project, this would be great, not only for my portfolio, but it would also be great, with the type of projects that I really want to do. awesome. And honestly, I started visualizing myself while I was there working on the project, which was awesome. So automatically I knew within like the first couple of minutes that this was a project I probably would take and I really wanted to go after. Now, the opposite of that is a project that you don't want, okay? And we'll talk about that next. But really, when you're in it for what you do want, you can't stop thinking about it, right? Even when you go home, you're like, oh my God, you know, like that would be so amazing. And you start thinking about all the design ideas. Now, is it on brand? This is really, really important. And this goes back to that emotional intelligence of your values and where you want your business to go, right? Because you really want to know, is this type of project when it's done, is this going to fit really beautifully into your portfolio? Are there other kind of goals that you have for your company? Do you want to be on TV? Do you want to be in print? Will this project look great in print? Because they only accept certain type of looks, right? So you want to look at it from that standpoint. And also you want to make sure that you have the confidence to handle the tasks, right? So I always believe in faking it till you make it. So this is really important to those who are really just starting out in design. A lot of times, a lot of people who just graduated or who just started on this design journey, they'll go, oh my God, I don't know where to start. This is overwhelming. This is a lot. And really, when you look at a project and it seems like so crazy, you want to write down all the tasks and you really want to go, you know, as a hack, you want to say to yourself, okay, can I handle this? What can I handle? And you put your initials next to each one that you can handle. How long will it take me? And then I want you to think about the things or the items, the tasks that you can't handle. And I want you to think of who would be able to help you for those projects or those parts of the project. And more than likely, you either know somebody or you can figure out how to get some help or consultant to help you with those things. A lot of times in my business, we hire out a lot of consultants for different things that maybe either we don't have time for, that I need to review, or maybe don't have the expertise in. And I think that that's really helpful. So sometimes that project to get you to the next level of where you want your business to go is attainable. You just have to think outside the box, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. What makes a bad client? Okay. You do not feel a connection. They try to talk down your price. They want you to give away all of your ideas at the first meeting. They have never done a project or worked with a designer before. They have horrible taste. They tell you they can't make up their mind. They don't understand the cost of things. They are not on the same page as their spouse or partner. They are flaky and can't remember anything. They don't pay on time. They call and text on the weekends. They don't trust your vision. Okay, so I am a really big believer in if it is not an absolute yes, it is a no. I will repeat that because it is really important. And if you follow this, it will guide you through many, many questions that you have, not only in business, but in life. If it is not an absolute yes, it is a no. So that means if you're like, I don't know, maybe, that means you're trying to talk yourself into it. Do not do this. Do not take this project on. I'll tell you a small story. So I had a old client that I knew from a while back. It was like a Goodfellas type of contractor. And I work with a lot of contractors, but he was very old school in the way he approached things. And in the past we worked together and I decided not to work with him anymore, probably like 10 years ago. Well, he recently called me and he just said, listen, I have this quick project turnaround, blah, 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 blah. I need it in like 3 days. Can you do this? So I did have time to do it. I explained to him the fee. He was fine with it. I said, okay, the way I work is I work on deliverables. So everybody, and remember this, the way you price, the way you charge, how you invoice, that is how you work. Nobody's allowed to tell you how you work. They're not allowed to say, well, you know, this happens over here, or this guy does this, so maybe you should do that. That is none of your business, and I don't really care who does what. This is how I do business. So I always explain upfront, these are my fees, this is how I charge, this is how you pay me. And I honestly get the majority of what I'm asking for upfront because I'm putting all of my mental and value into the design presentation. So you're getting all of that up front. So I should be paid for most of it up front, and I'll leave a little bit at the end in case, you know, the shit hits the fan. So in this case, I had explained to him, this is my fee. You want this done in 3 days. I need you to pay the deposit, and then I need the balance within 3 days when this is done. Sure, no problem, Blanche, no problem. Great. Get the deposit. I do the design. I bill him on the 3rd day. No answer. No email. this, that. Finally, a couple days later, he answers me back and he's like, hey, what's up? I just, we need to finish phase 2. I want to do some more. And I basically had to come to Jesus. And I said to him, I said, listen, I do not chase people for money. When I send you an invoice and an email, I expect them to be answered. We had an agreement. So he's like, oh, that's not even a lot of money. What do you mean, a couple days? Everybody is 60 days from when you bill them. I said, no. Other people may be 60 days from when you bill them. This is our agreement. And I don't care if it's $1 or $500,000. This is how I am paid. So at that moment, we agreed to part ways. He paid me and that was it. And I'll never work with him again. But you need to understand that you have values and you have ways that your company is going to work, and that is up to you. And you set those parameters and people have to honor them. Now, can you be flexible? Of course. When clients come to me and they go, listen, I want to, I saw your price, your fee. I totally honor that, but maybe could we do a little something on it? And I'll say to them, most of the time I'll say, yeah, we can do something on that. I won't give you XYZ, I'll just give you XY, and then I can take off this. So whenever I'm discounting, I'm usually taking something off. There is a balance, right? And you want to make sure that people honor who you are and they honor your service. And what we do is really important. We're not like, solving crime or like, curing, a disease, but we are needed. And the value a lot is in our brain and what we bring to the table. So when it takes me maybe an hour to figure out a room design, that's because it took me 24 years to get to be able to do that in an hour. So you're going to pay me what I need to be paid for that hour to do that as quickly as I need to do. And so you have to understand that when you're talking to a client or you're connecting with them, these are cues that are letting you know whether to take it or not take it. Because at the end of the day, we in 2020 especially, I'm hearing a lot of designers go, well, what if we don't know where our next check is coming from? Or there's not enough out there, or now forget it, everybody's doing e-design, so now like everybody's discounting. This is all based in fear and scarcity. And I get it because I have been there. But really, you don't want to take on a bad client or anybody who has these red flags, because you are going to not only not feel comfortable where you are right now in COVID. You might be going through things, or maybe you have a lot on your plate, but you're also going to be that much more unhappier when you have to deal with these clients that you can't stand or that don't trust your vision. They have to trust it. A quick story, and then I'll go on to the next slide. But I recently presented a proposal to a large commercial project, and I was bidding between myself and another designer. And it was a sizable amount of money for a lobby, common areas and whatnot. And they came back to me and they said, we really like what you offered, but we'd like to know if you're able to, before we hire you, show us what the design would be for the lobby, a sketch, maybe the selections, the space plan. Can you do the desk? Oh, also we'd like a budget. They asked for all of this before I started working for them, before they decided whether they would like to hire me. I explained that would not happen, that is my work, what they just asked me to do for free, or maybe even for a nominal fee. That is the work. It takes a lot more than they think. And that if the other designer was willing to do that, then I wish them luck. This would not, if I agreed to this, I would be setting myself up for a relationship that was unbalanced. And I would be unhappy because this would be one of many considerations that they would ask of me that would basically be putting me over the barrel. So is it a big project? Yes. Would I like to work with them? Yes. But they have to meet me where I'm at. So let's go to the next one. What makes a great client? You feel a connection. You can envision working with them, very much similar to a great project. They show respect for your time. They are open to your ideas. They respect your pricing. They stick to their agreements. They are nice human beings. They tip their vendors. This is important. They communicate clearly. They have good taste. Again, they are nice human beings. We do not work with assholes, okay? And that is very important. So it is important that they are nice human beings. I do not personally like working for people or with people that I do not like. And I think that this is just your basic, right? This is where you start. Are you a nice human being? Are you nice to other people? It's similar when you go to a restaurant, do people tip? There are vendors that are going to be delivering to their house. and doing things. You're going to ask them to move furniture and things like that. Always tip them. In fact, include it into your contracts that it is required to have a tip for every delivery, because you want to help the people who are helping you, and it helps build good relationships. You want to make sure they show respect for your time. Do they follow your guidelines? You know, I put a lot of guidelines in my contracts to let people know my time of day that I'm working, how long it'll take me to get back to them, those types of things. I don't always adhere to them, but that's because I may not want to sometimes, because a client is adhering to them themselves. So if I have a client who's playing well with me in the sandbox, then I'm going to blur the lines in a little bit. And if you need me, I will go above and beyond. But if you're trying to take advantage of my time and trying to think that your time is worth more than mine, well, then we are going to have these guidelines that I have put into place before we started the project. It's really important with your contracts that you outline everything that you would like to see happen, so that later on down the line, there isn't confusion and there isn't an issue with these conversations. The worst thing that you can do is thinking that, well, if I don't put it in the contract, then, you know, maybe later on we can discuss it. It needs to all be out there in the open. The photography at the end needs to be in there. How you want them to communicate with you needs to be in there. How you're going to get paid. All of these things need to be outlined effectively, and you need to be able to communicate with your client. This goes along with emotional intelligence, because if you're able to pick up on their cues, you're able to connect with them more effectively. And this will make a better relationship with all of you. You know, it's like children. I have a little girl. She's a couple months old, so she's not in the crazy rebellious stage yet. But I will say that she has specific boundaries, and she responds well to them, because she knows that, like, okay, I know where I can and cannot step, and this makes me feel more comfortable. And that's very similar with the client. And you can say it in a way that's really nice and can always connect in a way. And it's not about, you know, I find that a lot of designers have a problem asking for money or talking about these topics, any of these strong topics, but really it's just about you showing people how to treat you. Okay, how to honor yourself in your craft. These are very important things. I will not give into scarcity thinking. That's what I just mentioned before. Do not give into that. You will feel it creeping up on you when a project comes up and you're like, this doesn't, I don't know, the money, I need the money. Who knows when the next project's coming through? I don't know, I don't really like them, but I kind of feel like I should just take it anyway. Okay, those types of thoughts are what let you understand that you're giving into scarcity thinking. I will not stay in an unhealthy relationship hoping that I will get great photography or referrals out of it. No, that never happens. So if you think that by staying in a relationship with your client, that at the end they are going to reward you with photography, or that they're going to tell your friends how amazing you are, I want you to know that that is not real. They have already been talking about you behind your back the minute you guys had any type of disagreement, and they're going to hold the photography over you. And do you want that type of photograph of their work? I understand you put in all this work, but do you really want that juju in your portfolio? There are other projects, tons of other projects that you're going to get that are going to be worth it. Do not stay in a relationship with the client if it feels like it's not right. And this doesn't, I don't care if this is 2020 or not, no matter what is going on, I hope you're the takeaway from here is that we are going through a very interesting time that has never been around. This is very out of the ordinary, but it doesn't mean that you can't deal with clients that you're passionate about, and you really should only deal with projects and clients that you're passionate about. Now, there's the one-offs here and there that may be a quick turnaround that bring you money, and you may be like, they're fine, I don't mind them, I can do this very quickly. That's different than this. That is your maintenance types of clients that will help keep your business afloat. So that is different. I will not be at their beck and call. Respond to your clients, but, sorry guys. Respond to your clients, but understand that you don't have to respond every time they call you or every situation at all hours. I will not let them take my ideas and run all over them. So you are the leader in this relationship. They collaborate with you, you collaborate with them, but you don't present just so that they can like send it to their aunt, their cousin, their brother, and they're like, I don't know, I have 80 lifelines. Let's like do that. You say, listen, I'm in this relationship. You have to trust that I'm presenting something to you, not just because I have good taste, which I do. I'm presenting to you because of X, Y, and Z. You list the reasons behind your design decisions. I will lead the project and be clear about my boundaries. My contracts will outline every service and item that I need to do on my job. I believe that if I release a negative client, that the universe will reward me with an amazing kick-ass client. And this is the truth, and I've had it happen to me plenty of times. It may not happen the next day, but as soon as something doesn't work and you have a come to Jesus with a client, you're like, listen, this isn't gonna work for me. As soon as that happens and you're able to honor yourself and stand in your own power, I bet you very soon you will get an opportunity for another project that is even better than that. So you really have to make space and have faith, you know? It's really important to kind of understand what your goals are, what you want out of your career, what you want your business to be like. You write out that roadmap. What is the ideal client? I want you to even write out what the ideal client is. What does that look like? What are their personality traits? You know, in branding, when we are marketing to people, we want to write who are we marketing to? Who is our ideal client? It's the same with business and our, you know, our design business. So who's that ideal client? Who's that ideal project? And then I want you to really understand what you will and will not take. Because if you write down, these are the things I will not take, and these are the things I will take when it comes to my relationships and how I work with clients, then when you get those calls and you're on the fence, you're going to know instinctively what and will you will not and will take. Okay, I know that was a lot of wills and wills nots, but these are definitive ways for you to understand yourself a little bit more fully. And using your emotional intelligence, you're picking up on the vibe before or even more so than what the client is telling you. These are things that I have used in my own business, and they have helped me because we probably run about, I want to say anywhere from 8 to 12 projects at a time on the regular, and they could be large commercial hospitality projects, small residentials, whatnot. But I will tell you that I like all of my clients. I don't cringe when they call me. They all pay me on time. I never really have a problem with them. If something arises, I have the conversation and nip it in the bud right there. They are all respectful of my time and my services. I mean, there's not that many people out there that can say that. It's because I stick by these guidelines, and they're very simple, believe it or not, but they actually will help you to have not only a business, but a business that you're happy with, and you will thrive. Even in 2020, you will thrive. So I hope that you'll take some of these ideas and thoughts and make them your own. And that's really about it. If we have any questions, I would love to hear them.
All right, let's see what we have. We had some really good chatter here. I'm sure we have a few. Okay. And I agree fully. If it ain't a yes, then it's a no. I love that. I've been taught that by my success coach for 20 years, and I love the way he says that. All right, here's one for you. Do you work with a law team for your contracts?
Do I work with a what team?
Like a legal team, law team?
Oh,
like
no. So I have, I probably took a little from ASID, AIA contracts back in the day, and I've over the years have just fine-tuned them more and more. You know, there are certain legal parameters that you want to put in to make sure that they are legal in a court of law, which you honestly can look that up. But then there's the more specific personal things that you put in that, like, you know, you'll work on a project, something will happen, and you'll be like, oh shit, I should put that in my contract. And that's really how it's happened throughout the years.
Okay. Another one just came in. Would you be willing to share a sample of your contract with us?
No. I've been asked that plenty of times. And I used to teach seminars, and I would share them once in a while. And then I realized that legally, if somebody wanted to copy my contract and then something went wrong, that it could always come back to me. So,
Yeah.
you know, if I did it as a package and I did it with all this legal jargon and I set it up that way, I would do it. But I stopped and feeling comfortable doing that. And I honestly just say to people, if you can, just write out all of the things that you will and will not do, and that you expect from a project. Like, just keep writing, and then look at them like a day later and be like, what looks crazy and what looks okay. And it really is like, it comes down to, for instance, I ask for the majority of my clients, I ask for about 75% up front before I even start, like before I even put pencil to paper. That may sound crazy to most people, but I want you to know that 95% of the time I get it. I get it because I asked for it. And when they ask me why am I paying you that much up front, I say to them, because when I'm doing my design, I'm putting majority, my design, usually my schematics include so much up front. I front load it. So when I go to present, they have so much information that they can go and do what they want with it. So you're basically getting my design. My balance is really like a nicety, you know? So when I explain that really my work is all up front when it comes to that phase, that flat fee, then they understand it. And if they don't want to do it, they don't have to work with me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. One thing that I'll add, just being in contracts for a while on multiple things, if you Google search exactly what you're looking for in the way of a contract, you will generally find a whole bunch of sample contracts that you can put out there. And if at the end you just put Word document, it'll bring up as many Word documents as possible and allow you to rebrand it, rewrite it, add some things to it. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here when it comes to contracts, but
I agree.
like Blanche said, I think it's so great to put the things in there that are very meaningful for you to set the tone with your customer, but there is so many free samples out there.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why I say it's very personal, because there may be like a paragraph to 5 paragraphs of legal jargon that you can honestly get on AIA or ASID or online, like Rich was saying, but really like 80% of my contract is just personal stuff that I have put in that I want to see happen along the project length.
Perfect. I'm going to take one from the chat room because there is a few there. How do you find good contractors special now that you have to deal with people far away?
So I've always had to find contractors in remote areas, especially working from home, because I used to do a show called Hotel Impossible and I traveled around the world doing it. But before I would get to the location, I had to find a local contractor for each location. I did this for 5 seasons. So I got really good at just finding locals on the ground. And the best way to do that is word of mouth. So a lot of times I would look locally and I would say, okay, I'm doing this project. And I would maybe talk to like maybe the location and say, do you know any contractors or anybody there? So they would give me some names. Then maybe I would look at some work rooms or look at some vendors that I was thinking of using. Maybe there's a furniture company or something that you're going to look at from, you know, like let's just say we're talking about Maine. So we would call them, you know, furniture company in Maine, go, we really love your products. We're thinking of using them. Oh, do you have any referrals for contractors? You always want to get referrals from people who are in the business local to the area because they have their ear to the ground. And that's the best way you're going to get like really the best people. And then once you get the contractor, oh, do you know a plumber? Or you would get the plumber, do you know an electrician? And that's how it all rolls in. And then you get referrals. And honestly, if you are in the trade, ASID as well also has like a lot of our trades, you know, connections on their website, and you can do that too.
Perfect. Here's one that says, how do you politely not take a project after you have already met with the potential client?
Oh, this has happened to me actually a few times. I had a project that the wife seemed lovely. It was actually a referral from another client that I love, one of my favorite clients. They said, oh, we have a friend who loves your work. I went to the house. I loved the house. It was perfect. It was all in line. The stars were aligning, right? And then she was like, I'd like you to come back and just review the contract with my husband and myself. I said, great. So I show up at the house and the husband was a complete nightmare. Like, I mean, like a psychopath. It was actually the worst interaction I'd ever had. And they seemed to think that everything went well. And he was like, all right, so I guess we'll call you and, you know, we'd love for you to work with us. And like, I left there and I was just like, this is a lot of money. I like the wife, but he holds the purse strings, honestly, in this relationship. And I'm going to have to deal with him a lot. And I just can't do that. So literally the next morning I woke up bright and bushy tailed. And I just said, listen, it was really lovely to meet you. I just don't think this is the right fit for me. And I wish you much luck. And I just, you know, I don't think this is going to work for me, but thank you. And I got a crazy response. Like, how could you break up with us before we even started? What are you talking about? You're hurting my wife's feelings. You don't even have to deal with me. And I was just like, yeah, so thank you, but no thank you. You just kind of have to bow out, because when they start getting into that kind of conversation, they're really going to start getting into nitty gritty, and it's about the argument. And if you're just not going to take the project, don't take the bait. Just, you know, politely bow out and just say it's not the right fit for us.
Yeah, and I will say that, having the option of walking puts you into a significant position of power.
And you always have that option. Believe it or not, I don't care if you have no money in the bank, or I have had no money in the bank. I have literally been like nothing, and I've been negative in my it hasn't always been roses. We are entrepreneurs. So sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. And when you're feeling that way, you still have the power to walk away because it's not the right fit. It's going to cause you more anxiety and angst. And that energy isn't going to leave you open for the right client.
Yep, really good advice. Here's one from Nicole. Do you tell them up front that the tip and photography will be billed, or do you build that in?
I don't bill for photography. That's for my own personal portfolio, but I do let them know in the contract that we will be taking photography at the end and that we are allowed to do that. We will not use their name, and we will not use their location without written approval if for the name, never location, but we won't do that. But we are allowed to take photography and we own the photos for that. For tip, I do put that in the contract that any deliveries would require like, a nominal tip for, delivery. That's the way you should do things. And honestly, your installers will go above and beyond. It could be $20, but it's just a nicety.
Yep. Okay. And then here's another. It says, how do you keep a client that fires you from taking your then ideas to another designer?
They can do that because you got paid up front. So if the problem is why designers get scared about this is because they're taking either 50% or less than that up front, or they're taking a retainer and they're going, oh, I bill hourly. So I took a $2,500 retainer and I pulled the design together, and yeah, my billables came out to about 10,000, but I'll bill them after I do the presentation. Well, that's when I would be afraid too, that they're going to take your ideas and run because you did all this work and you didn't get paid. I like to charge, for me, it works to charge a flat fee for the design. I call it the schematic design. A lot of my contracts and my structure are very much based in how architects do them. I found that works for me. So flat fees work for me for the most part, not on every occasion. And so I charge a flat fee for schematic design. So when I'm doing that, I charge majority up front, like I said, at least 75%. So if they take my ideas and they want to go and buy it somewhere else, or they want to go and implement it with somebody else, they can, because I charge enough up front for that design, because that's in my head, that I don't care what they do after that. Now, if they want me to implement it, they want to order from me or project manage, that has its own separate fees. But the design, what they came to me as a designer, what I get paid for, I've already gotten paid for, and they'll pay the balance of that, and then they can do whatever they want. We are not furniture salesmen. We do sell furniture as a courtesy. It will help our bottom line, and it is a service that we offer when we're doing white glove, but we are designers, and so you need to get paid for the ideas in your head and turning those into visualizations that they can understand. And if you do that up front, then it doesn't matter to you what they do with the design afterwards. They can use it as toilet paper, they can go implement it with their cousin, or do whatever they want.
Yep. Great advice, actually. Been there, done it. So agree wholeheartedly. Another one just came in. This is good. I think this is fair. How do you manage stress when you have to deal with family, kids, work, and then still be so successful?
Compartmentalize. So it's really important for you to have boundaries and also to feel out your energy. So I have, like I just mentioned, a child. I have family. We are in COVID. I had a baby during COVID. It was a lot, and I'm doing things like this, and I have my business, and I just updated my website, and I do PR, and I do all of these things, and my own billing and all of that stuff. And when it's time to work, it's time to work, and I make sure that I prioritize. I have lists of things that I want to get done for the day, but I'm flexible. If something comes up that was more important, what are my most important to do things that day, and what could be shelved for the next day? When I'm with my family or my daughter, I am on and I am present. I may answer emails if she's like, watching TV for like 15, 20 minutes. But for the most part, I'm like present with her. So when I'm on, I'm on, and when I'm off. And you want to make sure you make manageable tasks and also outsource. So if you think as an entrepreneur that you can do it all, you can't. and you're not good at all of it. We're good at a lot of things, but the things that you're not good at, think about your budget and what you have money for. Maybe it's not a lot, but honestly, there are places that you can hire people to assist you for a lot of different things. Things like places like Fiverr, that literally you can pay $5 for things to get done in and out of the country. Online resources, there are people now looking to hone their skills that just came out of school that can help you, that they want to build their portfolio. So know when you can't do it all. And also understand your energy. There are some days you're going to have ebbs and flows of energy. So the days that you have high energy, handle those big tasks, get them out of the way. The days that you're like, oh, I don't feel centered, I feel kind of off, you know what? Start your day with like either a meditation, workout, and then maybe do the things that are not going to take up a lot of your energy, or the things that you like actually love doing. Maybe you're looking for lamps, maybe you're resourcing, and just understand your energy and just kind of work with it.
Perfect. And here's another one. What's your biggest piece of advice for just a brand new designer starting out right now?
I would say that no matter all of the designers that you see out there, all of the glossy pictures, all of the ones that intimidate you, we all go through the same feelings and thoughts and issues that you're going through. And the only difference that sets the successful ones apart is really honestly tenacity. So really being able to roll with the punches, being able to get up when you get knocked down, and being flexibility, and having I would say like a want to do things, really going out there and going, you know what, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this. I'm going to go after this. And when you don't know something, figure it out. Either look it up, Google it, find somebody that can give you information. I would say that if you can be tenacious, if you can go out there and keep going when others would have given up, if you can silence the voice of doubt in your brain long enough to understand that we are all unique and we are all deserve a seat at the table, you will understand that so do you. And so when the things happen to you, like COVID, you won't take this as a woe is me, I can't believe it, oh, the hardship. You will take it as, okay, now what are we going to do with it? What can I make out of this? Who am I going to become out of this? What do I want to see a year from now looking back or looking forward? So those are the things that I would probably say to just really think about.
Okay, excellent. We're just at the end. So again, you are a fan favorite. The chat was blowing up the whole time. Hell yes is, it needs to be a hell yes, or it's a no from someone, which is great. And yesterday we had one of our speakers, Jessica, say, don't be intimidated and fake it until you make it. So just to button that last piece up.
Yes, Jessica is a friend of mine, and we both drink from the same water. And when we get together, there's a lot of Jersey F-bombs and cursing. And we're like, yeah, we do all that. So
it's good stuff. All right. Thanks, Blanche. Appreciate it as always. Very insightful.
Thanks, guys. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.